Welcome to Radio Asia, where we share Asia's hidden stories with the world. Tonight we drift into the heart of Vietnam, to an ancient mountain temple where the line between the living and the departed blurs into a single breath of incense smoke. This is the whispers from the incense smoke. The night was quiet, except for the slow crackle of incense. In the dim temple light, David Morris sat cross-legged before the altar. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood, ancient, tender, endless. The flame at the tip of the incense stick flickered once, then, in the stillness, a voice, a woman's whisper. Soft, barely there. Yet every word felt as though it was spoken right beside his ear. Do not forget the bridge beneath the mountain. David froze. He looked around, but there was no one. Only the sound of cicadas and the slow breath of the night wind weaving through stone pillars. He reached for his recorder. Nothing. Silence. The machine captured no sound, only the faint hum of the forest. And yet, the words lingered in the air, dissolving into the rising smoke. Two weeks earlier, David had arrived in Vietnam, a foreigner chasing questions that had no names. He was a cultural anthropologist from London, working on a paper about ancestral veneration in Southeast Asia. Vietnam, with its temples wrapped in fog and its people speaking softly to the unseen, drew him in like a forgotten melody. He traveled north, following an old monk's suggestion, to a temple known only by locals as Chua Suong Pu, the Temple of the Mist. No tourists, no signs on maps, only a narrow road curling up a mountain lined with bamboo and silence. When he arrived, the fog was so thick he could barely see his own hand. But through that veil of mist, he saw a figure. An old woman in brown robes sweeping fallen leaves by the gate. Her name was Kulin. The villagers said she had kept the temple for over 50 years. They also said she could hear the incense smoke. That night, rain drifted like mist across the tiled roofs. David couldn't sleep. The frogs croaked somewhere beyond the courtyard, and every sound seemed to echo inside the temple walls. He sat up, turning on his small recorder. An old habit. The red light blinked. Then somewhere deep in the silence came the faintest sound. Not quite a voice, not quite the wind. Just a rhythm, soft, rising, falling, like someone whispering behind the curtain of rain. He stepped outside. The temple yard was empty, lit by the orange glow of oil lamps. Incense burned before the altar, its smoke curling upward, twisting into strange shapes before vanishing into darkness. David stood there for a long time, unsure what he had heard. When he replayed the recorder, there was nothing, only static and the soft hum of rain. Yet deep inside, something stirred, a feeling he could not name. It was as if the air itself was alive, watching him. The next morning, Kulin found him in the courtyard, still holding the recorder. She smiled, her eyes half closed from the sun. "You didn't sleep well, did you?" David nodded.
"I thought I heard something,"
he said.
"Like a whisper."
Kulin didn't look surprised. She simply poured tea into 2 chipped porcelain cups and said, "Sometimes the spirits of this place test strangers. They want to know if your heart can listen." David blinked.
"You mean that was real?"
The old woman didn't answer. She lifted her cup of tea and the steam rose between them, curling in the air, just like the incense smoke the night before. "If you truly wish to understand our way of remembrance," she said softly, "then follow the smoke. It always knows the way." The mist never truly lifted in that valley. Even at noon, the sun was only a pale disk behind the clouds, painting the temple in shades of silver and gray. After breakfast, David followed Kulin down the narrow path behind the monastery. The path wound through bamboo, past moss-covered stones and shrines leaning with age. Neither of them spoke, only the sound of sandals brushing against damp earth. After a while, the trees opened into a small clearing. A wooden bridge stretched across a shallow ravine, half hidden beneath vines and wild orchids. Kulin stopped. "This," she said, "is the bridge beneath the mountain." The words fell softly, but for David they struck like thunder. It was the same phrase that had drifted through the rain that first night. He felt the back of his neck prickle.
"Why do you call it that?"
The old woman gazed at the bridge for a long time before answering. "Because beneath this bridge lies the path of the forgotten." David stepped closer. The planks were carved, names, hundreds of them, barely visible through moss and time. He crouched, tracing one of the markings with his finger.
"Who are they?"
Kulin's voice was quiet, almost lost in the wind. "People from the old village. During the war, they came here to hide. The mountain protected them, Stande, but when the rains came, the valley flooded. Some never made it back." She looked down at the incense bundle in her hands. "Every year we light one stick for each name, so they won't drift too far from memory." David helped her light the incense. The smoke rose slowly, curling across the bridge like a living breath. The air thickened, silent, heavy, waiting. Then came a sound, faint, fragile, almost human, not from the forest, not from the river, from the smoke itself. "Remember us." David froze. His recorder was running this time, the red light blinking steadily. He lifted it, hand trembling, heart pounding. But when he played it back, there was nothing, only the wind and the endless whisper of the smoke. That night, the mountain fell silent. Even the crickets seemed to hold their breath. The fog wrapped around the temple like a shroud, soft and endless. David sat before the altar, the recorder in front of him. 3 incense sticks burning side by side. Each thread of smoke wove upward, meeting and parting in the air like streams of memory. He closed his eyes and listened. At first, nothing, only the crackle of the incense and the distant drip of water from the eaves. Then from somewhere beyond the wall of fog came the sound again. Whispers, dozens of them. Soft, layered, rising and falling like waves. He couldn't make out the words. They were in Vietnamese, old and trembling, like a prayer carried by wind. But the tone was unmistakable. It wasn't sorrow, it was longing. The incense smoke thickened, twisting into shapes, faces, silhouettes, outstretched hands. And in the shifting shadows he saw them, men, women, children, the forgotten. Their faces weren't frightening. They were gentle, waiting, like people who had been silent for too long. One voice rose clearer than the rest, a woman's.
"You found the bridge?"
David's breath caught.
Yes,
He whispered.
I heard you.
"Then remember us. Tell them we are not gone."
The smoke curled, then faded. The whispers fell away one by one until only silence remained. But the air still carried warmth, as though the unseen had leaned close and breathed beside him. David sat there until dawn, tears he hadn't noticed drying on his cheeks. When he finally turned off the recorder, he didn't need to check the audio. He already knew what he had heard was not meant for the tape. It was meant for the heart. When the first light crept over the mountains, the temple bell sounded, deep, slow, like the world breathing again. David stepped out into the courtyard. The fog had lifted, leaving the world freshly washed. Every leaf gleaming with dew, every stone alive with quiet memory. The air still carried the faint scent of incense, but the whispers were gone. Only the echo of their presence lingered. Soft, like a secret shared between the living and the departed. He walked to the bridge, the same bridge where it had all begun. Morning light spilled across the wooden planks, and for a moment he thought he saw them again. Silhouettes of people crossing the bridge, fading into sunlight. He didn't record this time. He simply bowed. The old abbot found him there, smiling faintly.
"Did you find what you came for?"
David looked out over the valley.
I think I found what I didn't know I was looking for.
The abbot nodded.
"Those who remember keep the world alive."
As David left the temple later that day, he turned back one last time. The mountain shimmered under the sun, and from the altar window, a single thread of incense smoke drifted upward as if waving farewell. This has been Radio Asia, bringing Asia's stories to the world. Today, we followed the whispers rising from incense smoke, a story about memory, devotion, and the unseen ties between hearts. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because stories like these, quiet, sacred, and deeply human, deserve to be remembered.